What's up, everybody? This is Kastner-Lang, host of Dharma Unfiltered. We're coming in with lucky number 13, episode 13 of Dharma Unfiltered. Special guest on the Zoom call today, Jaylen Sanders. Jaylen is someone that I guess got connected with originally before going down to Miami for the first semester of college. I think I just kind of saw as like we were all doing our Instagram and Facebook posts on the, introducing ourselves, and I saw that he was really kind of big into entrepreneurship and business and mentoring, and I thought, oh, that'd be a cool kid to reach out to. And law of attraction works, so we just kind of started talking, and I guess Jaylen also kind of helped me actually get this podcast off the ground and figuring out what platform to use and the logistics of it. So Jaylen, if you just want to tell the people who you are, what you do, where you're from.
Cool, man. Reed, I appreciate you having me on the show, man. I'm very honored to have this privilege to reach out to your audience and definitely let people know who I am and what I stand for. So my name is Jaylen Sanders. I am currently a freshman in Miami. I'm majoring in finance, and I have a double minor in sports administration and economics. I am also the co-founder of a mentoring group called Next Level Mentoring. The purpose of that organization, of the company itself, is to help and mentor younger students, primarily males, in the areas of financial literacy, personal responsibility, and just overall boosting self-esteem. We saw that there was a need in the community for quality mentorship, and so our goal is to definitely provide that and to bridge that gap between the teenage years to the adult years and to make that transition very easy. I'm also very big in ownership. As Reed said, I'm an investor. I do some Forex, I do some stocks, mutual funds, ETFs here and there. So I'm really big on passive income and all about self-employment. I'm also really big in personal development, being sure that you're always the best version of yourself. And, from there, that's mainly who I am.
Yeah. So when did your I guess, passion for personal development and financial literacy, like, were you always kind of like, I know I was like my whole life, I've always been like, I guess, entrepreneurial. Like, is that something that you were kind of, I mean, some people say, they're entrepreneurs are never born, or are always born, never bred. Were you a born, I guess, entrepreneur?
Honestly, man, that's a good question. I mean, ever since I was always a hustler. I was always a hustler, always interested in self-entrepreneurship. Remember I was in 5th, 6th grade making different CDs, selling CDs. I started like a car wash business, just washing cars, vacuuming on the weekends. I eventually got into like refereeing basketball. So I think as far as entrepreneurship, I would consider myself to be a born entrepreneur, man. And always been intrigued with how can I make things work for myself rather than working for somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. And it's funny. It was like, for me, it was like, it was the only option. It was like, I never even thought about like working for someone. I was like, I started just selling golf balls on the golf course here. And it was like that starting that so young made it the only option. Like, and now it's to the point where it's just manifested. It's like, there's no way that I'm ever like working for someone. Like, I want to, build things with the people that I want to build things with.
Absolutely.
Because I think that me myself, I'm a lot more effective when I'm able to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's major. Definitely major. And one thing I like that you said about the law of attraction, just manifestation. I think when you're an entrepreneur, your mind is geared to think differently.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you start to see things through a little bit more clear lens. And also being an entrepreneur requires you to have a more wholesome view of everything involved, And definitely as far as personal goals, man, just manifestation, having to manifest and have a definite plan to say, hey, whether it be 1 year from now, 3 years, 5 years from now, this is my end goal. So I'm going to manifest and I'm going to get there.
Yeah.
But just a matter of, breaking down. I know for me personally, when it comes to setting goals for myself and manifesting that goal, sometimes that goal can be very, big. Say it's a 3-year or 1-year plan. For me, in order to stay motivated, to feel like I'm progressing, I have to set those, smaller milestones. Say, hey, in 1 month I want to be here, or 2 weeks I want to be here, and eventually, things will lead up to that big goal. But that's something that I've noticed over the past maybe year, the transition to college, with COVID and everything. It's been a little bit tough mentally, to definitely not even stay focused, but to stay motivated.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I feel like this year we've been kind of bogged down with a lot of negativity, and this is the year that has either made or broke a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
So I think as far as manifestation, like you said, man, it's very, very important and just staying motivated.
Yeah, I mean, I keep saying, the winners are the ones, right? The winners right now are the ones who saw COVID right at the beginning as an opportunity, and the losers are the ones that are still like complaining about how shitty this year has been and shit. Like this. Uh, there's opportunity and there's drawbacks and everything, but just kind of trying to stay positive and only really it's like we've spoken about Kimani on this before.
Yeah.
Like, he always talks about just raising your vibration and keeping your vibration high. So like literally, like I'm to a point now where I've been surrounded with I've surrounded myself with so much like positivity that it's just like any negativity I just don't even
Yeah.
like down there. I don't even pay attention to it. But yeah, one thing with like manifestation that I've noticed, it's interesting because I view entrepreneurship as almost like a fast track to to spiritualism. Like
Mhm.
I totally agree. Like you think in a completely different lens because say you are not an entrepreneur, um, say you want to go work on Wall Street, or you want to go work in the trades, like you're part of a much, I guess, bigger group, even if it's a smaller group relative to the country or whatever. Entrepreneurs is like one of the smallest, I guess, sectors of people.
Right.
And you have to think very, very different. You're not focusing on just one aspect of the business. You're not even just focusing on the business. You're focusing on moving the business forward, but you also have to kind of take a step back and look at like what product you're delivering, and overall, I guess, trends in the market and trends in the world. It gives you a much, I guess, like you said, a much more holistic view.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Man. I think also, to tag along what you said is as far as being an entrepreneur, it is also being kind of a jack of all trades. I know for me, just like, you need some people to work for you or you alongside some people, but rather than being a master of one, I say be a jack of all trades, where some to get your hands dirty in the manual labor, you have to get your hands dirty in the business aspect of things, the marketing aspect of things. So it's just a matter of being involved in all aspects. And I think I kind of, if it's okay with you, to kind of revert back to what you said about the negativity and setting standards. I think this kind of ties in perfectly with entrepreneurship, at least for me. And one thing that I do post very, frequently on social media, daily messages, and something I've definitely integrated into my own life is just the importance of standards. As an entrepreneur, the goal setting is very critical, but in order to reach that goal, you have to have standards along the way.
Mhm.
And so, like you said, as far as negativity is concerned, you kind of tune all of it out because it's not necessarily getting you to where you want to go. I know for me, man, as far as standards, it's like with smallest things, friends and texting and calls. After around 10, 11 p.m., my phone is off. If
Yeah.
it's not an emergency, don't call me, don't text me. With have a very small group of people that can say, hey, shoot me a text here and there,
Yeah.
but it's just like, all right, Jay's not on that. Or if it comes to, I feel like a lot of kids our age are still kind of in that young teen mindset where it's always drama. They want to text you about, hey, this is what he's doing, this is what she's doing. And you have to kind of ask yourself, how is that progressing me? You
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? So I think in my phone now, I have a total of 1,530 unopened messages. And it's not to say, hey, I don't text anybody back, but it is also to say, hey, I don't text anybody back. And my philosophy on as far as friendships or business relationship goes, if a relationship is not affecting me or if it's not positively affecting me, whether it be spiritually, financially, physically, mentally, I don't really want the conversation.
Mhm.
And a lot of people aren't necessarily going to understand that. They may interpret that as being arrogant or you're being an asshole of some sort. But it's just like, this is where I'm trying to go. And what you have going on is not helping me to get there.
Mhm.
And I think that's also, it ties along, hand in hand with being an entrepreneur. You have to figure out, like I said, once again, what it is that you want and how you plan to get there.
Mhm.
And then tune out all the outside noise, which is a lot of negativity.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's really hard because I think, like we kind of talked about with the the subsect of entrepreneurs is very, very small. And like we are surrounded with mainly not that type of thinker, right? So one thing that I was a little bit disappointed with when I got to college was a lot of kids. It was still a lot of the high school shit going on. It just seemed a lot like high school, like all over again. Friday, Saturday night, going out, whatever. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, I'm not in high school anymore. We're not in high school anymore. And like, it's really fun too, because it's like, we're at the University of Miami. This is a pretty damn good school. And to be able to say that we're kind of like, in my opinion, like at the top of our class there, at least, looking at what these other kids are doing is cool. And I think over the past 3-4 months, first semester at Miami, going into that environment, thinking that I was going to be surrounded by a ton of super smart kids, just, it didn't end up being true. We're surrounded with a lot of smart kids, just not all smart kids. And
Right.
I kind of was able to manifest and say, okay, like I can be very, very selective, because then I met people like you and people like Kimani, like these super smart kids. And I was like, okay, well, there are some of us here, so
Mhm.
let's just focus on that and kind of ignored a lot of the other stuff.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you. Percent. I definitely think definitely a lot of kids come to Miami with the intention to just party, to have fun. I mean, the city of Miami it's fun. It's a fun city. And I think a lot of kids necessarily have that switch that clicked in their mind and say, hey, I'm here to have fun, but also here is my priority. I'm here to get education. And they may see that an education is their only reason for being there. Whereas with us, we're not only seeking an education, we're getting an education from one of the finest schools in America. But on top of that, I'm also here to network. Miami's a great city. It's a very diverse city, a big hub for business and things like that. So whereas you may party on Friday, Saturday night, also be sure that throughout the semester or however, long period of time that you're staying there, that you're also reaching out, make those connections where, with you with Catch Up Please or me with Next Level, we're always looking for ways to say, hey, how can we grow this, or how can we find a connection to help us to improve this? Saying, I know, remember I saw you in a few farmers markets or a few like little shows down there
Yeah.
promoting your business and your ideas, and me, reaching out and speaking to people like you in the dorms or even just in the city to say, hey, what do you think about this idea? How can we improve this?
Mhm.
Things like that. Where, like you said, man, it's all about balance too. Balance is very important. I'm not saying go to school just in education, have no fun. That's
Right.
part of being college, part of being young. Have fun, but you also need to have. Goes back to my previous point, just having standards just for yourself. Hey, Friday night, Saturday nights to study or whatever it may be. But I need to have at least 1 day or 2 days throughout the week to say, hey, I'm going to use this time to promote myself, to whatever it may be as far as self-improvement is concerned. But it definitely was I did have to kind of weed through a few people to say, I thought at first maybe a cool person to have around and things like that. But it's just like, all right, after a while, too much partying going on, man. I'm not gonna say we can't be friends, but I mean, I know where to categorically place you in my life to say, hey, he's just a party kid. We can kick it every now and then, but when it comes to business, we don't those really mesh.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I think, it's harder for the kids. Like, it's easier for us to kind of weed through, I guess you could say, those people, because we have other things going on. Like, the Next Level, Catch Up Please, whatever. We have other things going on, to the point where I look at like schoolwork as just like, take care of business, just get it done. I'm not like, school is definitely a priority, but it's not the priority for me. Like it's important for me, of course, to get good grades and keep my GPA for, my scholarship and everything, make my parents happy.
Uh-huh.
But at the same time, it's like, you know, coming from very, very small town, in Wisconsin, to the city of Miami, it's like, okay, like let's be real here. Like, we have so much other opportunity other than getting good grades. And for a lot of these kids, it's like all they've known their whole life is get good grades and you'll be good. That's it. Like, that's really, and they haven't really gone out on their own to start things. And that's the case with the majority of kids. So then if you're in that situation and you start meeting other kids that are also in that situation, it makes you feel like, okay, well, this is fine. This is normal.
Right.
I'm normal. That's a good thing. Whereas that's completely not the case. Like being normal is not a good thing. Like you want to be different. Like Steve Jobs is different. Mark Zuckerberg, all these people are different. Like they're nothing like the rest.
Absolutely. And man, I have a question for you as far as, not necessarily just being normal and maybe your philosophy on being in college, the importance of grades. Would you say that, of course, we were both raised in households where getting good grades is very important. Anything less than whatever standard, it was unacceptable. Would you say that, maybe being in college, that of course grades are still important to you, but not maybe as important anymore?
Yeah, because I guess I kind of looked at grades like high school as like, okay, this is what I need to do to get to Miami, right? Now it's like I don't really have any other incentive to get good grades, like other than just keeping like I'm just like, okay, I just have to keep this GPA. Like I don't really have like I don't want to go to grad school. I know that I don't. I know that I don't want to get employed. And I also know that even if I did, a lot of companies are moving away from caring about GPAs. And to be frank, like I wouldn't want to work at a company that cares about my college or high school GPA. Like I wouldn't want to. So yeah, no, I definitely agree that I definitely think that I guess grades are not nearly as important for me now as they were in high school. How about you?
Yeah, man, I agree. Honestly, this is something I have been really, it really just kind of hit me the past few weeks. It's just like, in high school, it was grades, grades, grades. And I'm very, very tough on myself because, like I said, there's a standard of excellence for myself. But now that I hit college, it's just like, okay, as far as the bigger picture is concerned, I would like to go to grad school, business school, and then law school. But I start to look at what I'm doing now as far as investing and then with next level. And there are so many ways to be successful without having to have that 4.0 GPA.
Hmm.
I think that type of have to have a 4.0 to go to Harvard or go to here. And then it's just a typical American dream.
Right.
And as times are times are changing now, the American dream is evolving and it's different for everyone. And
Mhm.
now we see that, necessarily you don't have to have that 4.0 GPA to 4.0 GPA to go to in high school, to go to Ivy League college, to go to an Ivy League med school or law school, and then go out and make six figures. We're seeing so many ways to be innovative, to definitely employ yourself and to be able to make money and necessarily impact change on people's lives. So I think as far as grades are concerned, man, I see the importance of them not as important to me anymore. Just as long as I'm not gonna say just as long as I'm passing, but as long as I'm passing, if that makes sense.
I,
So
I'm completely with you, man. And even in high school, I shouldn't even say that I was super hard on myself in high school. I wasn't. Like I just got I mean, the classes were naturally pretty easy. I naturally got good grades. I was never, one to be up on like my sister, usually like when she was in high school, she would like junior year, senior year, like she'd be up late on like Friday, Saturday nights studying, and I'm 4 years younger than her, and I'm like, fuck that, I don't want to do that. Like I want to be out with friends and stuff, and I'm still like that. It's still like grades have always been kind of this made up whole concept of, oh, this is gonna mean success, and it's just not true. And to say that like I look at it from a huge picture, like it's like grades are the epitome of someone telling you that you're worthy, right? Like if like kids get down in middle school and high school and they get bad grades, and I'm just thinking like this kid, everyone has so much potential, but the system is telling you that you got a bad grade on this math test that you're never going to ever need to know in the future,
right.
makes you down and makes you not want to. It just takes your confidence down, and you don't want to like do anything. And it's kind of a scary place for a lot of people.
Yeah, it really is, man. I think we see it firsthand. We have some of those super, super, super high achievers. Like they're down about a B or a C or a D, And like I said, like you said, man, it's just one test. You know, who are you to tell me that I'm worthy or not worthy? This one test is an evaluation of what I'm capable of. Yeah, I might end up done so hot, but that's not going to say that because I failed this one, I'm not capable to succeed in life. You know?
Yeah. And I also think kind of for kids in high school that are listening, um, I wouldn't like, at least in my case, like, especially, I guess I'm come from a different point of view as an entrepreneur, but um, I don't think that like the school that you go to means that much. I think that the city that you go to means a lot. Like I always say I chose the city of Miami before I chose the University of Miami. Like I was just thinking, you know, I want to be somewhere warm. I want to be at a city. I want to be at a place that is able to have fun. I want to be, you know, a lot of networking opportunity. Miami was the only one. Like it fit everything that I wanted. Um, and changing your environment, man, changing your environment, like can work wonders, you know, in everything. Like after living in the same place for 18 years and going to live somewhere that different, you know, climate different, culturally different, everything different, can just like open your perspective like crazy. So like I would say to any kid that's listening that's thinking about, oh, where do I want to go to college, go to a place that you want to live. Go, because this is, you know, you're 18 years old and you have the opportunity to, I mean, not everyone has that opportunity, but if you do, like, take advantage of it. You know, don't don't just go to school because you think it's going to get you a better job. I don't think that a degree from University of Miami means that much more than a degree from, you know, UF or I guess UW Madison or something slightly more public and not as, you know, quote unquote prestigious.
Mm-hmm.
Focus on where you want to go, I guess.
So, what would you say was your kind of mindset going into college? Like, what made you say, "Hey, fuck it, let me just go to Miami"?
Well, I was lost mentally like all of senior year. Like I was like in a really bad place because I was just so like burnt out on on all of it. I was burnt out on high school. I was burnt out of the fucking cold weather here. I was burnt out on everything. I'm just like, I just wanted something different. But Miami, I went to the campus like spring break of junior year. And I said,
Mm-hmm.
I walked, I was in Miami and I walked on the campus and I'm like, okay, like this is, I don't need to see anything else. Like, I mean, you see the University of Miami campus and it's over. Like, honestly, like that was it for me, man.
That's dope, man. I think that see, I kind of stumbled upon Miami, but it was a blessing in disguise, man. It was honestly because Miami was never on my radar. I had the mindset my freshman, sophomore year, I'm gonna from home. You know, I love South Florida. I'm originally from Atlanta. I love Atlanta, but I want to just be far away. You
Mhm.
know, and it was actually Miami had sent me an email saying, "Hey, we're having an open house. Come check the school out." So I'm like, "All right, cool." So it was on a Sunday, and I asked my parents last minute, "Hey, can we go see?" And they were like, "Yeah, let's do it." So we drove down, and like just like you read, I walked. I was like, "Whoa, oh." Now you know it's a little too close to home. I'm only like maybe an hour and 15 minutes away,
Yeah.
and I'm like, "Yo, this is too close to home." When I walked on, I was like, "Okay, this is nice." We walked through the school. It was a beautiful school. You know, they told us some of the rankings, and I'm like, "Wow, Miami's a great, diverse place to live culturally, business wise." And so they told us they had a summer program that was available, and 3 weeks summer program. I could study sports administration, which I was interested in at the time, and it would be taking place in July. So my dad asked how much, and they said I think it was almost 9,000. And so he looked at me, and I was like, okay, that's 9,000 no's. But I told him, I said, Dad, I really want to do this. Apply, and I said, cost, don't worry about it. I'll get it. I'll make some. And so I ended up applying. I got in, and we had a week to pay the $9,000. And at the scrap, man, I was up late night looking through scholarships and making phone calls and things like that. And the day before the money was due, I got a call from a financial group up in New York, and We talked for a bit. They asked me about myself, my career goals, my plans, my GPA at the time in the high school. And the magic words were, okay, send us the information. We're going to pay for it for you. So that was perfect. So I was able to go to a 3-week program, and just being in the city of Miami, man, it was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And so that translated into college. I ended up applying to 19 different universities and got into 14 or 15 of them. And at that point, like it was schools all over the country, from Northwest over towards Oregon to Northeast and DC, schools in Florida. And just that thought process for me, I had to break everything down from all aspects of my life. Okay, I'm thinking financially, which schools give me the best package? If I'm to go to school in, say, a state like California, I know California is expensive to live in, living expenses. And ultimately, man, Miami, I was applying for scholarships. I ended up getting all the scholarship money, getting paid for everything in full for Miami. So I'm paying $0, which worked out even. But honestly, for me, it was my younger brothers. My younger brothers, they are 13 and 11. And our bond now, it's better than ever. And I just thought that if I went away to, a place like DC where I couldn't come home as frequently,
Yeah.
that bond would be broken. It'd be much different. I can't see them grow up. I can't come to their games.
Mm-hmm.
I can't, come home and fight with them all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was honestly them, man. And I'm like, Miami, it's not ideally where I want it to be. It's the school like I want it to be, but just too close to home.
But it's
the
pretty damn good.
Yeah, it's man. So I'm honestly so blessed that I didn't end up going on the open house tour. I think honestly, if it weren't for that open house tour, Miami wouldn't have been for me.
Wow. Yeah. No. So how often do you go home?
I mean, during the week, I don't go home. On the weekend, so maybe about twice a month, 2-3 times a month.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's a really interesting point you brought up, kind of about your brothers, because like, I guess kind of what I found is like my bonds with a lot of the people back here have gotten a lot stronger, because it's been the time spent together was a little bit, I guess, saturated. Like it was a little bit saturated, like before coming down here. It's like, okay, we've with everyone, the 10 people that I spend the most time with or whatever, and it was like, okay, we're all just kind of ready for a little bit something different. And then kind of coming back here, it's like there's just having a little bit of space. There's no room for like bad vibes. Like it's just
Right.
like, you don't want to waste time doing that. Like there's so much positivity and good that we really are able to just kind of focus on that, which has been really good.
That's perfect, man. Yes. What's that saying? What absence makes the heart grow fonder?
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure. For sure, for sure.
definitely. So tell me a little bit more about the scholarships. So because not many people like have done that. You just grinded, you just called around, you looked up different possible scholarships and that.
Yeah, man. So I think during my junior year, I ended my junior year, I ordered a book from Amazon called The Ultimate Scholarship Book. It's actually sitting up on my desk right over here. And that book is maybe 1,000 pages thick. And it has every single scholarship you can think of. And honestly, me being, I was involved in several extracurricular groups, either in school and outside of school here in Palm Beach County. And just speaking to people, different churches, local fraternities and sororities, companies. And something my mom always told me that has really resonated with me for my entire life is closed mouths don't get fed. And so for me, it was like, okay, Jay, what is your plan to in life? What do you want to do? And so I've always either been, I've not wanted to go the law direction, but also sports management. And so what I would do is I would draft emails saying, hey, my name is so-and-so. I have this GPA. I'm interested in the field of sports management or the field of law. I'll be attending University of Miami in the fall. Do you all offer any scholarships or grants? And what I would do is I would take that email, which is the main draft, and just send it out to different places.
Mm-hmm.
And once I sent it out, along with applying to other scholarships from the book, I would receive email backs. And as far as closed mouths don't get fed, The worst thing anybody can never tell you is no. You know, once one door closes, you have 1,000 other doors open. So of course I've received a couple of no's, but then other people say, yeah, you know, we offer this scholarship or this grant, and from to add up. And I think for anybody, any high schools that are looking to get into scholarships and things like that, don't always go for the big ones. You know, the Coca-Cola, I was a semifinalist for Coca-Cola, and of course it would have been nice. You know, the thing is 25 or 20,000 a year. I didn't end up getting it, but it was like, okay, that could have cut so much more of my time. But just the smaller scholarships add up too, the 500, 750, thousands here and there. It started to really add up. But that was mainly what I did, man. It's just people, reaching out to people, having face to face with people, and to try to set a minimum goal for yourself. I know all of my college apps were done by end of November. So then from November 30th or 31st or whatever. I think November has 31 days. November 30th, that's what it is, November 30th, up until June, man. I was applying at least 2-3 a week, just cranking them out. And eventually things started to add up. And I'm actually now kind of at an impasse with Miami. I have money over what is being charged, so I have to kind of work that out. But
Yeah, man.
I know Miami's a little funky about that, but some state schools, man, if you apply for those extra grants, that's money in your pocket. You can definitely keep that and, you know, do whatever you want with it.
Yeah, one thing I'm just going to take from that again is closed mouths do not get fed, and that goes for anything. You know, that goes for entrepreneurship, that goes for different career paths. I mean, the majority of people, if you're starting a business, or if you're like if it doesn't matter if you're starting a business or if you want to go into finance, it doesn't matter. Like, if you just find people that are doing things that look like something that you kind of want to do, and just kind of reach out to them. And one thing that I've been doing is just kind of going on LinkedIn and just like literally sending messages, going into some of my connections, looking at their connections, especially if they're in
Mm-hmm.
the food space, because obviously that's what we're working on now, and just shooting everyone, a ton of people, messages, and just saying, hey, I'd love to, you know, chat over a Zoom call or a phone for a few minutes. And um, you know, with that, it's like I'm just able to kind of run, you know, my ideas past them in terms of, you know, what the next few months look like for Catch Up Please. And usually they either have one of two things or both. They have, you know, insights and advice on what I should do, both
Mm-hmm.
personally and for the business, and also connections. Like, there's an there's an infinite amount of people out there, right? They can help, um, and they're just waiting. You know, people want to help, like older people, adults, you know, even us, like we want to help. Like if there's like, if
Right.
any, you know, 14, 15-year-old kid like wanted to talk to us, like we would completely be down, because it's all about like helping other people at the end of the day. So yeah, just never be afraid to ask for help, because you'll always be able to find it.
Absolutely. I think I want to touch up a little bit, man, about the social media aspect of business and as young adults. Of course, social media is very prominent within our age group. You know, Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter. How would you say that you use social media as a way to market yourself, to brand, and how important would you say, like, more so the social medias like LinkedIn are?
Yeah, so I would say that I've always been a big social media guy. I've always been, you know, when we started Catch Up Please, I said, okay, this is going to be kind of, you know, we're going to grow a following. I've see all these different direct to consumer brands kind of building a following on Instagram, Facebook. Um, and then I got to Miami and I started to see kind of all the negative implications of social media. And I saw, like, I'm the only kid walking around that's not on his phone. Like, I'm like walking on campus and I'm like, look around us. Holy shit, this is an amazing campus. Every single day I'm doing, and then everyone's sitting there on their phone. I'm like, okay, what could be most of them are probably on Snapchat sending pictures back and forth and completely wasting their time, right? So I was, the first couple of months at Miami, I was just like, fuck social media. This is the devil. Like, this is literally the worst thing. Um, and then I met a guy named Lance who I did a podcast with a few weeks ago at the Coconut Grove Farmers Market. And we just kind of immediately got on the same wavelength. I'm telling him all this stuff. He was like almost in the NFL. He has a really interesting story. But he was saying, social media isn't the enemy. Social media is the answer. Like he has like 10,000 followers. He's pumping out a bunch of, Instagram posts a day. And he's like, it's what you want to use it for, right? Like Gary Vee always says, social media is just the canvas. Like it's all of the shit has been happening for forever, but we're just able to see it on a daily basis right now. Like I think that personally, social media is oftentimes being misused. Like, I mean, my personal like Instagram, I just like posting stuff that I like to post. Like I just like posting things with friends and cool things that I see and stuff. Always, positive. But I think that it's being misused a lot. Like I think that it's being like a tool for people trying to flex on each other and shit. It's just unhealthy. But again, it can be used for good. It can be used for completely like it's like there's no better way to reach an abundance, a huge amount of people than social media today. It's the answer. And with that, from a business standpoint, it's wonderful because you're able to connect with a whole lot of people, millions of people across all the platforms. We're just kind of starting to work on, I guess, like Facebook advertising, Instagram advertising. I've always done them, but starting to go a little bit more in on them. You're able to get a pretty insane amount of reach, honestly, with just putting like 20-30 bucks into a Facebook, ad campaign or whatever it is. And I guess with LinkedIn, kind of like I was talking about, the amount of people that you're just able to get connected with, and that's kind of the epitome of the type of content that I like to see a lot of the time. LinkedIn is super positive. It's always people congratulating each other on different professional milestones or business milestones or whatever it is. So what are your overall views?
I mean, I'm very similar to you, man. I love what Lance said about it being your canvas, paint, and I think that for me, my mindset has definitely shifted. Of course, with the maturity of being an entrepreneur, of being a mentor now, and I realized that it's less about liking comments, but more about impact. And for the basis of my social media and what I post on Instagram, on Snap, really, either motivational posts, which would be like a quote from someone, or my own words, things like that. And for me, it's just like I'm considering it holistically. Okay, I'm marketing myself as an entrepreneur, a mentor. I teach younger students. So let that reflect in my social media posts. So on Facebook, Instagram, you'll always see me either posting pictures with friends, or I made a recent post of me with my family vacation in Utah. And not to say, hey, hey, we're in Utah, we're vacationing, but more so, hey, he's a family man. Like I said, me being at Miami was it was because I want to be close to my brothers. I love my family very dearly. I love my friends very dearly. And so when you look at Jaylen Sanders is a family man. The motivational post, a lot of the things, it was, I think during a philosophy discussion we were having in class, and they were asking me, do you only post the positives of your life? And the answer is no, because ultimately no one has a perfect life. And so when I'm down, I'm not going to come on social media and say, hey, I'm so down, but hey, I'm down, but here's a solution to bringing me up, to uplifting myself. This is the trouble I'm going through today, and here's how we're going to attack this. And that kind of, I think that versus the entrepreneurial mindset is when you're faced with the problem, instead of drowning in your own problems, how can I devise a solution? And so with social media, with Instagram, it's a matter of, okay, I'm identifying these problems within society as an entrepreneur, as an individual, as a human being, with the goal of uplifting and motivating others. How can I devise a solution to fix this problem? And I think one thing I love about social media too, especially areas like LinkedIn, like you said, Reed, man, is it's a bunch of people congratulating you. You're making those invaluable business connections. And something I've definitely taken from that is just being able to humble yourself. I know that when you are a fish in a small pond, it can go to your head sometimes. It can go to your head. I am very guilty of that sometimes. Like, I'm in an area where people are not necessarily the smartest. I may be the smartest, the most accomplished in that. And from there, it's like, all right, I need to find a new pond I'm going to. Maybe a little fish in a big pond where I have a lot to grow in. I feel like LinkedIn is that big pond where I'm a small fish, and I'm able to make those connections. And I think that from those connections, across all social media platforms, one invaluable lesson I've learned is just being able to accept advice from people from all walks of life.
Mhm.
You have millionaire friends, you may have some people that, on Section 8 or on welfare, but I've learned that regardless of where anybody comes from, it's just like, everyone has a gem of advice that you can get out of it, just humbling yourself to say, hey, they have a point, or hey, they're right. And so social media has definitely proved that. But like you said, man, sometimes it can turn into, hey, I'm in Miami this weekend with a Lamborghini. I'm on South Beach. You just flex on one another. And it's like that kind of stuff I don't really care about, bro. It's like, congratulations for you if you feel the need to kind of brag about that. That just kind of shows where you're lacking in your life. So
Security, yeah. Yeah, no.
absolutely.
So I think with social media, one thing that I've um, over the past few months, I've kind of stopped using it a lot more. Like I've been more selective with how I use it, I guess I could say. Like I don't really go on Snapchat like during the day. Like I'm just and it's made me a lot. It's made my mind kind of slow down a lot more, because one thing that I noticed when I was mentally not at my greatest, I was kind of I was spending a lot of time on social media because I thought that it was gonna, it was gonna bring something to me, but it was really just kind of overstimulating me. Whereas when you step away from the phone for a while, and you're able to view the world from a much truer lens, like you just view it exactly how it is, and you slow down. If I didn't have like depression or anxiety, but for people that do, um, when you slow the world down and you just appreciate what you physically have, like it can work wonders. And in terms of speaking to a bunch of different people in Miami, every Sunday or most Sundays, I would wake up at 8 a.m. I would take the train to Brickell and then walk around Brickell, don't go on my phone at all, and just talk to people, walk around, just kind of see this city that is amazing, and just kind of that was a way that I really kind of got my weeks off to like a really good start. And just and at the beginning of every day, also one thing I want to touch on, like I don't spend any, like I don't look at my phone for the first like at least 30 minutes that I'm up. Like I figure out, myself before I give a fuck about what's going on in the world. Like I sit down usually with this notebook, and I'm just relaxing. I'm doing my shower, I'm getting dressed, whatever. And I sit down with this notebook, and I just, it's a good flow, because you're able to think about, okay, these are the things that I need to get done today. Everything else doesn't really matter, and I'll find out about it later when I look at my phone. But it's if I don't know about it now, it's probably not that important.
Yeah, I'm the same way, man. Honestly, we have kind of the same, morning routine where I call that what you do with the notebook. I have a very similar notebook. I call it a brain dump. And
Mhm.
it's like when I first wake up, just dump my brain, my mind, what has to get done today, what did I finish yesterday, things like that. And I say, check the accounts. We're not the social media accounts, but the bank accounts. All right, and the investment accounts. All right, Monday, markets are back open. Let's on this week. And I try to, within the first 30 minutes of the morning or 45 minutes of the morning, let me hop on all these different business outlets or news outlets to say, hey, this is where I may choose to invest this week, or let me check this, let me check that. But like you said, man, social media can definitely be a trap. It's definitely a trap. And I honestly do want to get into what you were saying. Try it while I'm at least here before school starts back up, about kind of being less attached to your phone. Because I am starting to notice that I am a little bit more inclined to, when I hear, a vibration on my phone, to be so quick to grab it. And that kind of needs to slow down a bit. I know I'm a little bit on my phone a lot more because I make money from my phone. I'm in so for Forex and stuff, things like that, it moves very fast. But I think a social media cleanse is needed. is definitely needed.
Yeah.
Because it's a trap. It's a trap, and I'm starting to notice it with myself. I'm a little bit more just quick to grab it, quick to grab it. And I like what you said, man, about the whole thing. My escape is to go to the beach to watch the sunrise.
Mhm.
My mind is always moving, moving, moving. But for some reason, whenever I sit at the beach and just watch the water, I just go, my mind goes blank. Nothing, nothing, nothing at all. So just doing that, man, you definitely inspired me I'm writing a few things down as you're talking for me to definitely just kind of keep in mind and implement into my own life to improve. There's a lot of improvement I
'Cause
need.
I think that kind of getting caught up like a lot in the day to day can be harmful. Like just it's important to just kind of take a step back and just really think about like be very intentional with everything. Like routine is important, but um like I personally don't like a very very strict routine because I feel like I'm working for someone. I feel like I just, to be honest, I just kind of want to do what I want to do whenever, like, and most of the time like I've developed kind of this weird unique routine where it's like over the past 4 summers every weekday and usually Saturdays too, like we'd be landscaping, and it was like you get up in the morning and you work. Like there's what else are you doing on a Monday? If you're not working on a Monday or a two, like what are you doing? Like there is just no other way to think about it. um so kind of now I have this routine where it's the same thing, you know, I'm not going out physically working, but you know I have, you know, my checklist of things that I need to get done. You know, I'm trying to, you know, pump out podcasts and learn things from different people, and but I think that the phone is the biggest, it's the biggest make or break device that's going to ever be in our lives, seriously, because you know we can, it provides so much good in being able to you know contact literally anyone like that, but it also is a huge, it can be like a huge distraction if you allow it to be. And if you
Yeah.
are, I think two things, if you are disciplined about going on your phone, like when you go on your phone, when I go on my phone now, I think, what am I going to do on my phone? Like, I don't, because I used to just go right to Snapchat, start replying. Like, it was stupid, waste of time. Now I'm like, okay, like, who am I going to text? Like, and why? Um, so being disciplined about the phone, and then also eating. Like, I've gotten super, you know, disciplined on my diet, because if you can control what's in your body, you can control everything. Like, you control those two things, man, everything else is easy, because those two things are very hard for a lot of people.
Big man, I actually started back on my diet today. Today marks day one of just cutting out a lot of the junk food, the late night snacking, that stuff. It's like you said, man. You'll be shocked that, you know, when you provide your body with the right things, and that comes from number one, food. That comes from information. That comes from the positive affirmation that you tell yourself, the
Mhm.
people that you're around. All that it culminates to who you are. And like you said, man, a lot of the food that you put into your body, it's brain food. It helps you to power you throughout the day.
Yeah.
And I like what you said, man. Being intentional, being disciplined, that's critical. That's key to being successful in anything you do, whether it be business, life, and any friendship. And just having a purpose.
Yeah.
Those, those are all, you know, just three huge things that it takes. It's not something that's not going to be acquired overnight, but it's just more so it happens in the habits of creating routines for yourself.
Mhm.
And I said, what it takes 21 days to build a habit, to build a routine. I think it's to build a habit, or to create a habit. And so just take it day by day, day by day.
One
Just
thing that Lance said that because Lance is like really big on like the health aspects and stuff, like he was talking about like receptors. Like we have our mouth and we have our skin as like receptors. So like, for example, you know, your skin, obviously you get vitamin D, and different people need different amounts of vitamin D, and different people, and obviously your mouth, you're consuming all of these things. It means so much. And then I took it a step further. I'm like, well, like our eyes and our ears are receptors too, and what we hear and what we choose to see and what we choose to listen to can be very impactful as well, I think.
yeah, yeah, absolutely, man, absolutely, absolutely. I agree wholeheartedly with that.
um Yeah, no, I think we covered a lot of really good things. I think, is there anything else that you want to touch on today?
Honestly, man, for the people that are, definitely listening, something I would definitely encourage that I've recently gotten into, I mentioned it several times on the podcast, and I will continue to mention it, is all about investing. I know Reed and I have a very entrepreneurial type mindset where we just say, hey, we don't want to work for anyone, but there has been a time where I think over the past 2 years, it's my third year going on, of being a high school basketball referee. I love being a high school basketball referee because, number one, I love the game of basketball. Number two, but it also to network with people. I want to go into the sports management field. I've been able to meet, former NBA players, current NBA players, college coaches, and just saying, hey, reaching out and speaking to people. But on top of that, what that we get from the basketball checks will go directly into an investment account and making your money for you. I know it works perfectly for me in college where I'm not necessarily the broke college kid. You have your money working for you. Hop on, make a few trades in Forex or in stocks throughout the week, and boom, the $50 you earned originally is now 100 or 150. And if you don't want to spend that, right away, so my goal by the end of my senior year of college is to go ahead and purchase my first home. And so just continue to invest, save your money, spend wisely. It's a lot of things that, of course, you want to look good, you want to feel good with the designer drip and stuff like that. But a $500 outfit accomplishes the same thing as a $5 outfit. A shirt is a shirt. Whether it be Old Navy or whether it be Gucci. So just definitely be intentional. Like Reed said, be intentional about your spending. Be disciplined with your spending. And just learn about the powers of investing, man. Investing can definitely change your life. The earlier the better you're setting yourself up for the future. So, investing is something I'm really, 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 really big on right now in my life. And I definitely read a lot about it. And I've just really grown my portfolio pretty well over the past year. I look forward to definitely improving it even more.
Yeah. No, I agree. And it's like you're gonna feel like, I don't care what you got, the Givenchy, you got the Louis V, like you're gonna feel so much better with putting that much money into just knowing that you have kind of that backup. It's really, healthy. It's really healthy for the mind, I think. Having that money invested away, and I'm trying to get a lot of my friends on investing too, because it's like, a lot of these kids have money in their savings account and stuff, and I'm like, I don't have barely any in my savings account because I just invested. I'm like, why do you need it in your savings account when it's pretty liquid in an investment account? So I'm getting them opening their Charles Schwab accounts, getting them, putting their money in there, keeping a little bit for emergency. But seriously, man, it's like, it's not even, people are always like, oh, you invest in stocks and now you're not going to be able to get your money. That's not true. I can just sell my shares and have the money next day. Like, it's like a 24-hour type thing. Like, I think
Right.
that's a common misconception about investing, is like, it's always like you're putting your money away long term. And that's my goal. Like, that's kind of what I'm doing. Yes, I'm more conservative. I hold stocks long. But you can get your money like that if you need to. So
Yeah,
there's really no excuse.
absolutely, man. Like you said, I've honestly kind of gotten away from savings accounts. I have opened several investment accounts, whether it be stocks, Forex as well, ETS mutual funds, but also there's some different ways of investing I don't necessarily think of. I know for me, I'm looking at right now is for an investment is buying a vending machine. And
Oh,
it's like, a vending machine, you have a one-time cost to purchase the machine. Of course, you have a couple of variable costs of um, maintenance for the machine, of buying products in the machine. But hey, if you go in with a couple of friends and that kind of reverse, like we were talking about before about standards, if you have friends around you that are very similar minded to you, it's like, hey, instead of paying $1,000 for a machine plus an additional 500 for products and things like that, you find you a group of 5 people, you all go in about $300 each, and just kind of split the profits.
all right,
It's all about.
I'm in. Let's do it.
Hey man, I'm down for whatever, bro. I'm ready whenever you are. So things like that. And a close buddy of mine, Vincent, he trades sports cards, and he's saying, hey, it's a great investment. So it's just small things like that. Like I think that a lot of people have just been so trained to say, hey, invest in stocks, put money away in a savings account. But man, make your money work for you. It's so many ways to invest. There's so many ways to make your money double, to make your money triple, quadruple, whatever. So I think the power of investing is very, very important.
Yeah, no, and it's like it's something interesting too, like surrounding yourself with these people, like the right people. It's like I've been just going with my gut. Like if I feel good when I'm with someone, um, I'm gonna want to be with them. If I feel like there's not much to talk about, if I feel then it's just like let's just like not do it, right? Like it's law of attraction, right? But um I feel best, sometimes when I'm with like people like you and my best friends and like, some other, really kind of entrepreneurial kids. I feel like this is fucking scary, man. The things that we can do, like we're 18, 19, and just being on like this call together or being in the same car or whatever it is, it's like damn, like we got like we when we put our minds together, man, it's scary what we can accomplish. And it's like don't wait, like I'm not gonna waste my time with people that I'm not, kind of feeling like that.
Would you say honestly, man, that people understand your standards, or how do you typically approach people or have those conversations where people are able to now understand who you are, what you stand for, what you will and will not accept?
I think that I don't really need to explain it. Like um if I need to explain it, that's the problem in the first place, right? Like I
Mhm.
don't need to explain it to you. Like you already understand, right? Like you don't need to explain your standards to me. I already understand. When you are at a certain level of standards, all those other people at that level of standards have the same level of standards, right?
Right.
So it's like you don't really like you're just kind of there like with them. And it's like spirit. When I go up here, I'm thinking like spiritual, like we're up here a little bit, we're on higher vibrations, like I'm talking like Kimani now, but it's like we're like I don't those the people that don't understand it, I'm just going to show them. I'm not going to tell them. Like I'm just
Right.
going to show them. If it's a Sunday night and someone asks me to like come over and party and drink, I'm just going to be like no. Like that's how
Mhm.
I show them. Like I'm just not, I don't need to explain myself. If I need to explain myself, you're not you don't know me. It's as
Right.
simple as that, man. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, I think honestly, man, I'm very type A. I think being in college and being with a roommate too. Being with a roommate has definitely taught me a lot about like compromise, taught me a lot about kind of just knowing when to say when. I
Yeah.
think before that, just I would also a lot of the time in my high school senior year, I would be spending a lot of the time alone, and I'd be either in school, working. I was in a couple of clubs, like competitive clubs and teams in senior year, all throughout high school,
Mhm.
and I'm very type A. You're never going to have to wonder what's on my mind because I'm going to tell you how it is, and that was also a good thing and a bad thing for me. I think a conversation I had with my roommate before we even became roommates is saying, "Hey, you know, here's what I require. I like, a clean room. I like a clean space. I'm not a partier. I don't drink. I don't smoke. So if you can't, not going to say necessarily adhere because I don't want to sound like his boss, but if you can't necessarily meet these standards, we can still be cool. I need to find somebody else." And I think that type of conversation, that's kind of one of the conversations that I do have directly. If I don't want to be with a person for a prolonged amount of time, whether it be a roommate, a business partner, be in writing, that's different. But like, honestly, the people that are on that same type of vibration, next level thinkers, things don't have to be explained. I can show you better than I can tell you. So let's not waste time conversation to say, hey, this is who I am, so and so, and this is just what I require. You can see it through my actions. So let's let that be that.
Yeah, the roommate thing, that was, I agree. That was a completely, different change. And I think like that was also like your roommate, that's fucking important, man. That's almost like a make or break for success as well, right? Like if you're
Yeah.
like because you're spending, I guess, a lot of your time, especially with COVID, with having all like, mostly virtual classes. It's like you're spending a lot of fucking time in the same room. And I got super lucky with, Kyle as a roommate. We kind of kept it we joked around with each other. But at the same time we pushed each other, and it was always like routine. Like, and he was like, I go out, do stuff Friday, Saturday night. He doesn't really. So it was kind of like we kept each other in check. Like he kept me focused and a little bit like pretty disciplined, and I kept it a little bit more laid back, I guess. So kind of finding compromise and I guess really finding people that kind of complement what you bring to the table is super important, especially in college.
Absolutely, man. I think me and my roommate, we clicked off the bat. I mean, he's an excellent dude. I couldn't have asked for a better roommate. Our room always stays very clean. I think that a clean room and a clean space is a lot easier to operate in, to
Right.
operate mentally, to operate physically in. And so once we kind of established that, it's just certain kind of unspoken rules now, like, you don't walk out of the room unless your bed is made or your side is clean. And so now when you walk into the room, the blinds are open, you're getting that vitamin D, the sunlight is in, a clean space. Now you're able to study. Now you're able to just move freely and think freely. And, when we go out, I look out for him, he looks out for me. And it's just that type of bond and friendship. We push each other, we challenge each other. And that's what I aspire to have in all type of friendships and relationships and things like that. So,
If it's not that, man, it's a waste.
yeah,
It's not even worth it. Like, because again, there's people that are there and on that wavelength, and if it's not there, it's not worth it, man.
what do you think about, I think at this point in your life, man, about a girl, about a girlfriend or a significant other coming into your life?
I have no time. Like, I'm just gonna be honest. Like, I don't know, man. I just don't really have any aspiration for that right now. Like, I'm grinding right now. I'm in a really good space, with business, with school, with family, with friends. Like, I have plenty of things going on right now. I really just don't have time for that. And to be honest, I didn't meet a single girl in Miami that I would want to have like a
Mhm.
prolonged relationship with. I guess at the university. So I'm very much very when it comes to that, it's all about law of attraction for me, man. Like, I'm not like I'm gonna find someone when I need to find someone. I don't need that right now. But that
Yeah.
for some people, like my business partner, I think he's gone on like 2 years now with his girlfriend who goes to Ole Miss, and they have a very good relationship because they're two super smart kids that are constantly pushing each other, and that's a really kind of hard relationship to find, I think. What about you?
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same wavelength as you, bro. But honestly, my mindset has kind of shifted. Like I feel like I'm in a great place now in my life. I have a great foundation where I feel like mentally I am ready for a significant other. But at the same time, it's just like I don't know.
Mm.
The way the speed of the way things are moving now, everything is going incredibly well. It's going well. And do I want to make that time commitment and sacrifice to take away from the other aspects of my life to give quality to a significant other? But
Mhm.
I think that very similar to what your has going on in a relationship, it's all about law of attraction. And for me, I need someone on that same wavelength as, hey, although we're together, this doesn't mean be up under each other 24/7. I have my craft, I have my stuff going on, you have your stuff going on the other hand, and just a meeting of the minds at that point. We're here to connect physically, spiritually, and on the mental level, but we don't have to be together 24/7. Let's just meet together, here and there. And from there, I think that makes a great relationship. But just finding somebody with that same type of growth mentality and growth mindset, and it's very rare. It's very, and so I'm not gonna force anything. If somebody happens to just come along, it just happens. But not necessarily, it's not. We're not the kind of guys to just go out and look. Because I consider us to be, as Kamani says, high value males. We
Yes.
possess, we possess very distinct features that you don't see in your everyday people.
Yeah.
And so, not to toot our own horn, but we're very extraordinary. And so, I don't personally think that guys like us should be going out and look. So let them come to us, and we
Yeah.
just kind of got who's who. So
At the end of the day, man, she doesn't have to be in business or entrepreneurial. It's not necessarily about that. It's for me, it's going to be like, can you get deep? Like, can you talk about literally anything? Because I like to get deep. Like, I like to ask, what the fuck is the point of all this? Like, why are we on this earth and all that? Like, I like to discuss those things. And it's hard to find anyone that likes to talk about that. A lot of people are just like, oh, there's some hippie, whatever, like whatever. But like, it's I think it's especially hard to find, I guess, like teenage girls, like girls our age,
Mm-hmm.
especially because the influence of social media and the constant societal pressures put on, especially girls. It's hard.
Yeah, man.
But it'll happen. I'm not worried. Man. Everything in due time.
Yeah, that is perfect, man. I took the words out of my mouth. In due time. In due time. Not gonna force it. So
With everything, man. Business, life, relationships, yeah, we're good. Jaylen, it was good having you on. I'm gonna get this converted and uploaded to Spotify and YouTube, and then we'll be good. Thanks so much for coming on.
I mean, I appreciate the opportunity.